Thank you for plugging into this Family Life News podcast, streaming issues-driven, family-focused news.
I'm Tracy Lynn, and this is our summer-long Staycation Destination series. Every Friday during the Noon Report, we'll spotlight a staycation destination that's not far from home and won't break the bank. This week, we're taking you to the Glenn Curtiss Museum in Hammondsport, New York.
My name is Rick Leisenring. I am the curator of the Glenn H. Curtiss Museum here in Hammondsport, New York.
Rick, we've all heard of Orville and Wilbur Wright, but why is it important to know about Glenn Curtiss?
Well, Glenn, being a pioneer aviator and also a developer of lightweight, very powerful aviation engines of the day, contributed probably much more to the development of aviation in the 4 years he was involved personally than Orville and Wilbur did. Starting in 1908 when he was working with Alexander Graham Bell and the Aerial Experiment Association here in Hammondsport, New York, on July 4th of that year, he flew the first publicly announced, officially witnessed air flight in the United States.
Yeah, and it was at Keuka Lake.
That's correct, right here in Hammondsport, and over 2,000 people came to witness the flight.
Neat. For folks that are not in the area, Keuka Lake is the finger lake that looks like a Y.
That's correct.
And it's so unique. It's a beautiful area. And is it true that Glenn Curtiss had a lot to do with naval aviation?
Absolutely. Glenn realized in those early days that the abundance of flat, unplowed fields to take off and land in for early aircraft was very far and few between, but the area had lots of bodies of water, such as lakes and ponds and wide rivers. So he started developing a water flight system first by putting a pontoon on an aircraft and turning it into what was called a hydro-aeroplane. And from there, he developed flying boats. At that point in 1910, Glenn went to the Navy and talked them into developing their own air wing. And by 1911, he was selling them their first aircraft and training the first naval air pilots.
Wow, we have a lot to be thankful for Glenn. Am I accurate in saying that he started with bikes and then motorcycles as far as he progressed with his engines?
Absolutely. Glenn was a champion bicycle rider in the late 1890s. He got married in 1898 at the age of 20, and in 1899 he opened his first bicycle shop. He started designing racing bikes, and from there, in 1900, he decided that he needed to go faster and started experimenting with motorcycles. By 1902, he was into commercial production of motorcycles, and he developed the V-twin engine, the twist throttle on handlebars, both of which are still used today. And from there, he just kept progressing. He became the man to go to if you wanted a light, durable, and fast, powerful engine for either a motorbike. And for early aviation, there were aeronauts at that time trying to put engines on their dirigibles or gas bag balloons, as it were.
Wow, he used the need for speed to help others, not just to get a thrill.
Yes, he did. Actually, he did. He was willing to work with anybody and produce anything. As a matter of fact, as a result of working with these aeronauts and their dirigibles, he produced the first V4 engine, and from there in 1906 produced the first V8 engine. And in January of 1907, having that need for speed, he put the V8 engine on a motorcycle frame, took it to Ormond Beach, and in January 24th set a world land speed record of 136.4 miles an hour on that motorcycle.
Wow. I know there are a lot of things to see there at the museum. Can you paint a picture of what people can glimpse while they're there?
Okay, the museum is a 57,000 square foot facility. We have 20 full-size aircraft in the building, all related to Curtiss, a large collection of antique automobiles and vintage motorcycles. The exhibits are set up in a chronological order covering Glenn's life from his early bicycle motorcycle days through aviation into land development. He founded the cities of Hialeah, Opelika, and Miami Springs down in Florida in the 1920s. Then he got into building and selling travel trailers and then racing motorboats and a wide variety of other interests. We also have a restoration shop where our volunteers are in the process of restoring a P-40 Warhawk.
Wow. Glenn was really quite the Renaissance man, and I know you have some very loyal volunteers that help out there at the museum. So which aspect of the museum most excites you, Rick?
What excites me? Well, having been here for 18 years as the curator and historian, I'm finding out all kinds of new information on Glenn as the digital age releases and opens up new information. And it's amazing what the man did. Sadly, a lot of people aren't aware that he passed away at the age of 52, and at the time he passed away, he was also in the process of designing the first drive-through safari park, which reflected his love of nature, camping, and hunting.
Wow. And do we know where he was aiming to have that?
That was down in Florida.
Okay. Well, makes sense. I was just curious, what do we know about his personality?
Glenn was a shy, introverted person. He loved to work with people, but he did not like crowds. But he was a man of very few words, so it's very hard to find any quotes from him. He was the kind of guy that liked to roll up his sleeves and get out on the floor of the factory and just work with the individuals, solving problems. He didn't like to sit in an office and try to run a business.
He was attention to detail man. That's how he made those changes.
Exactly.
Well, tell us how people can learn more about you and then what the price range is for people to come and experience the Glenn Curtiss Museum.
We're located on Route 54, just outside of Hammondsport, and we're open 9 to 5, Monday through Sunday. The hours will change later on this fall, around the 1st of October, to 10 to 4. We have a wide variety of admission rates from adult, senior citizens, 65 and older. We have a veterans admission, and then we also honor AAA at curtissmuseum.org, and Curtiss is spelled with 2 S's.
We hope you've enjoyed coming along on our staycation destination. You can hear all the podcasts online. Join us next week as we visit a new destination.